The assembly tool is used to show how different parts are assembled together. In this instance, we're keeping it simple. All we have is a column and then two beams which are coming up and are connecting into that column. And what I'd like to do is create some drawings based off of these three items. So to start, I'm going to click and hold my mouse button down and then window around each of these three items. And then I'll let go of my mouse button once they've all been highlighted on. From here on the ribbon, I'm going to select these three boxes, which is Create Assembly. When I do, it's going to ask, what name do you want to give to this assembly? Structural Columns 1 is actually a good name for it. If you want to give it a different name, you can, but that's what I'm going to leave it as. There's also an option called Naming Category, and it'll give you different categories based on the kinds of items that you've selected on. For this, I want to choose Structural Framing. We can see that the type name changes when I changed it here, but if you still want to type in here something else, you can. Now I'm going to click on OK to that, and when we do, over here under the project browser, there's now an option called Assemblies available to us. If you expand out the little plus next to Assemblies, we'll see it says Structural Framing 001. This is the name that we just gave it in that dialog box over on the right in the drawing area. If you right-click where it has Structural Framing 001, at the very top of this menu, it'll state Create Assembly Views, and we need to pick on that. By doing this, we can begin to create different views based off of this assembly of objects, and that includes down here at the bottom of the screen, different sheets. We can choose title blocks we might want to use for this. We can also do material takeoffs, parts list, a wide variety of things, and based on the objects you've selected, we're now going to create multiple views based off of these objects. Right now I like all the defaults, so I'm just going to click on OK to this, and it's taken us to another view that it just created. If we expand out the structural framing that now shows up under the project browser, we can begin to double click on each of these views, and I'm going to move fairly quickly double clicking on each of these views just so you can see them. So I'll start off with the 3D view, which is the view that we were in. We can see that there's a detail view. Each of these lines, it's at a more coarse level of detail. That's why we're not seeing the beams and column. But if we change this level of detail to be a fine level of detail by clicking on the box down at the bottom of the screen right next to the scale and changing it to fine, we'll then be able to see that inside of this detail view. We can see different section views. Each of these can be controlled by that detail level down there as well. The way it looks from the left-hand side or right-hand side. The way it looks in plan view. We can change the detail level there as well to get different information. There's the material takeoff, which is going to show the different steel names. And if it's useful, the material volume for those things. By the way, these are just regular Revit schedules, so you can modify these as well. There's a parts list, which gives us a list of all those different items that are now part of this. And here's the sheet A101 sheet that was just created. And the reason why it's blank is because I did not choose a title block. Otherwise, there'd be a title block showing up here. And then it's just a matter of, just like you would any other sheet, clicking and dragging and then placing the appropriate view onto the right location onto the sheet. So the idea behind assemblies is select on multiple different objects and then show how they are assembled together. As a result of this, we can more quickly generate multiple views that show just those objects we want to create construction documents of.